Warning, this video contains subject matter that may be disturbing to some viewers. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of True Crime and Mysterious Cases. Today I want to talk about the case of Jane Doe, aka Buckskin Girl. She was an unidentified murder victim who remained unidentified for 36 years. In April of 1981, a woman's beaten, lifeless body was found in a ditch on a rural road outside of Troy, Ohio. The town of Troy, Ohio is located about 19 miles north of Dayton, and with a population of about 25,000 people, it's a pretty small community. The woman's body was found by 3 men in a ditch alongside Green Lee Road, which is a rural road outside of Troy. The one thing that the men noticed right away was the unique buckskin jacket she was wearing, which is why everyone would refer to her as Buckskin Girl. She was also wearing a brown pullover sweater with orange crisscross designs and bell-bottom Wrangler jeans. Her hair was naturally reddish brown, and she had it parted in the middle and fixed in 2 braids. She would be about 5 foot 5 inches tall, weighing about 125 pounds, and they approximated her age to be between 18 and 26. An autopsy would find that she had extensive blunt force trauma to her head and neck area. She had also been strangled. They also believed that she had been dead approximately 48 hours when her body was found. They found no evidence of a sexual assault. They were able to take fingerprints from the body and make a dental chart, but they were never able to find a match. Her fingerprints nor her DNA was in the system. Law enforcement exhausted all efforts trying to identify Buckskin Girl and find her killer, but her case eventually went cold. Many online sleuths became interested in her case and took on the job of trying to find out her identity. Her case was discussed and debated on forums such as Web Sleuths, Reddit, and Facebook. Because Buckskin Girl was found shoeless and the bottoms of her feet were clean, they determined that she had likely been murdered elsewhere and dumped at the location her body was found at. Now, there were a lot of different theories as to who she could be and how she ended up in that ditch murdered. Where her body had been found was only about 5 miles from Interstate 75, so some people thought she could have been dumped by a passing truck driver. Others thought perhaps she was a teenage runaway who trusted the wrong person. It was also thought that she could have been killed by a serial killer who was known to target prostitutes in that area in the 1980s and 90s. Law enforcement didn't believe that she had been a sex worker. Her body didn't show any signs of sexual assault, and they said that her appearance was as if she had been well taken care of, well groomed, had taken very good care of her teeth. No matter how hard they tried, law enforcement, other officials, web sleuths, nobody could find out her identity. And it would remain a mystery for 36 years. It wasn't until 2018 when the DNA Doe Project got involved, and with help from the Miami Valley Regional Crime Laboratories, DNA analysis was conducted. Buckskin Girl would be positively identified as 21-year-old Marcia King. Her DNA would be successfully matched to a cousin who had submitted DNA for comparison. Her family didn't give a press conference, and they requested that their identities be kept confidential. Her family had last seen her in Arkansas in 1980, and although she had never been reported as a missing person, her family did continue to look for her over the years. Her family did say that she often hitchhiked as a way of transportation, and it's assumed that's how she ended up in Troy, Ohio. And although Buckskin Girl has her name back, she's been identified. They have yet to find her killer. Law enforcement says that this is an open murder investigation and that they're primarily focusing on her whereabouts during the last month of her life. During this time, she was known to be in the Louisville and Pittsburgh area. So far, it doesn't seem that they found any good leads, and they still don't know what exactly happened to her or who murdered her. Marcia was laid to rest in the Riverside Cemetery in Miami County, Ohio, and several of the law enforcement officers who worked on her case served as pallbearers for her. Over the years, local residents lovingly took care of her gravesite, keeping the area clean and putting fresh flowers out. After she was identified, her family replaced her old gravestone with a new one depicting her name, date of birth, and her date of death. They chose to have her remain in the Riverside Cemetery, saying that they felt Marcia had been blessed to have died in a community that had showed her such dignity and consideration. Marcia's stepmother was quoted as saying, "Words don't describe how we feel about all of you, how you have loved her and taken her into your arms." As the murder of Marcia King still remains unsolved, if you have any information on her death, please contact the Miami County, Ohio Sheriff's Office. That's going to conclude this episode of True Crime and Mysterious Cases. As always, thank you for joining us. And don't forget to hit those like, subscribe, and notification buttons so that you don't miss any future episodes.